everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Oh Shoot. I'm your host, Cassidy Lynne, and I am just going to preface this episode by saying that I am a little bit sick in the sinuses. So if I sound a little bit different, that is why I am currently recovering from an illness. I think I got sick while we were in Peru, which I will tell you guys about. And I have just like a little bit of a cough that is actually like uncontrollable. It's so annoying. So if I cough a little bit, it is what it is. But welcome back to another episode. I'm so glad that you guys are here. Happy summer. I feel like June officially marks summer in my head. So happy summer, guys. I wait literally all year for summer and it's here. And I feel like, low-key, I feel like I'm not taking full advantage of it yet. And I need to really work on that. Like, I need to work on going outside and like doing things. I don't know, sitting on patios. So I'm going to start working on that. But this episode, we're going to talk about a whole bunch of different things. But specifically, I wanted to talk to you guys about my trip that I just went on. And I wanted to talk to you guys about like 2025 bookings. Just kind of going over what that's looking like. Maybe why you are booking, why you aren't. So we're going to talk about all of that. First thing I wanted to say, I have presets coming out, and this kind of feels like it feels a little bit like a soft launch almost, because I haven't been like pushing them super hard. It's not like I've been teasing them for forever. But I do have presets coming out, and I've been working on these for quite a while. I think there was an episode I did a little while ago where I mentioned that I wanted to create basically this preset that I've created. The preset actually is named Satin Summer, which I thought is just like so cute for the summer, but also just like perfectly sums up how I feel about this preset. It's very subtle and soft, just like satin. It's true to color. It's basically like you can tell that the photos are edited, but it's supposed to be like just very subtle. Like, it's not too punchy or in your face, because personally, I've been finding myself kind of gravitating away from that type of editing where it's like something is super edited and you can tell. I've been loving a lot more of like natural and subtle edits. So this preset essentially is that. It's not too filmy, it's not too grainy, it's not too green. It's honestly like perfectly true to color, which I love. I am obsessed with that. I've been using it on all my photos, and it's called Satin Summer. It's coming out June 4, and I think you guys are going to really, really like it. I always get great feedback on my presets, not to toot my own horn, but I get a lot of people that tell me that they really love my presets when they use them, and I hope that this is the case with this one as well. I always love my most recent preset pack. Like, that's just the type of person I am. I love all my preset packs. I think they all like serve a purpose, but this pack is so fun because this is something new that I'm doing. But this pack actually has AI enhancers built into it. So essentially, I have like 6 color variations, 2 film variations, and then 2 black and whites. But within each of the color variations, I think there's 5 or 6 different AI enhancers, which basically the AI enhancers, like, they are like, they're designed to put the preset on your photo, but then AI will detect an area to make a mask. Why am I having such a hard time explaining this? Essentially, it's like Satin Summer 1 plus background blur. So if you click on that one, and the AI background blur feature will be enabled along with putting on Satin Summer 1. So essentially, if you wanted to whiten your subject's teeth, there's Satin Summer 1 plus teeth whitening, and it'll AI detect your subject's teeth and whiten it for you on top of the fact that it's going to put on Satin Summer 1. So this is just something to kind of speed up your editing process if you enjoy that. I kind of wanted to tease my AI brushes with this pack a little bit too. So like that's what my AI brushes do, is they like auto whiten your teeth with a one click. It'll whiten your subject's teeth. It'll AI detect your subject and whiten their teeth. So it's, it's the same vibe as that essentially. So that's fun. One other update I wanted to give you guys before I get into my trip. This is so random, but I don't know if any of you guys can relate to this, but I was, I'm like working on my presets and whatever. So I'm like on my website quite a bit, and I I got onto my website and I just like looked at it and I was like, I don't feel like this is the vibe that I give anymore. So essentially, I had my website designed in 2021, my education website, and then my actual like photography website was designed in 2022. And I definitely feel like I reside a little bit more with with the my most recent website, which is like my photography website. But my education website, I'm like, I just feel like this is not my vibe anymore. Like, you guys remember like those like blobs that were really popular in design? Like, they were like these little bean shaped blobs that everyone would use, and like just a lot of like browns and tans and kind of like rust colors. Like, I feel like this was very 2021. And I'm just not into it anymore. And so I went on my education website and I was like, I don't want to like pay for an entire redesign of my website. That's like not the vibe, because it still functions. I love the layout. But basically what I did was I went and I changed like all the colors on my website, and basically got rid of my chocolate brown, my rust color, my sage green, my pinks, and I just went for like a black and white type of vibe. I mean, it's kind of like black, white, and like these like beigey whites almost. I don't know. And like there's a little bit of like green. Like it's like a light green. But essentially, I just wanted a little bit of a spruce up on my websites that I felt like would accurately represent me right now. And I actually did this on my photography website as well. I went and got rid of all the blobs, the little bean shapes. I got rid of all like the little squiggles and paint marks and stuff, and just left it clean, left the design how it is. And then I updated all of my website photos on my photography website as well. So I feel really good about that. And honestly, I just wanted to say this because I feel like sometimes you want like a little bit of a spruce up, but you don't want to pay like $8,000 for a new website, or even like if it's not that expensive, like a couple $1,000s, you just don't want to pay it. It's like what I did on my website literally took me, I would say, an hour and a half. And the thing that took me the longest was having to like update all of my photos and stuff. So, yeah, if you're feeling a little bit uninspired by your website, it could be as simple as changing fonts too. I honestly feel like that might be the next step for me, is just like swapping out a few fonts and just really making it a little bit more of a reflection of who I am right now. So anyway, that was very long-winded, but so if you guys feel like you are not booking for 2025, we're going to talk about that after I go through and talk about my trip. It's not going to be like the world's longest talk about why you're not booking in 2025, but we are going to talk about it after my trip recap. I don't know which one's going to be longer. I'm just talking from my heart today. Okay, guys. So yeah, let's let's get into my trip recap. So I had to batch a couple episodes because I went to Mexico and I went to Peru. And we had, we had the Serena Yang episode. We had the horror stories episode last week, which I hope you guys liked. And so now we're back kind of on the weekly update type of episodes. Next week, we'll probably do an advice column. So stay tuned for that link for the submission. So let's talk about my trip. Multiple trips, actually. So the first part of my trip, I went to Mexico. This was for a wedding. If you guys don't know, this is my third time shooting in Cabo within the past year and a half, maybe just 1 year. Yeah, within 1 year, I've shot in Cabo 3 times. And I do kind of feel like the Cabo expert at this point. And it's very fun to kind of like get super experienced in an area that's not where you're from. So I've quite enjoyed it. And obviously, like, who wouldn't enjoy going to Mexico? So this is my third time going back. I had a wedding. This couple actually was from Michigan. Of the 3 weddings I've shot in Cabo, 2 of my couples have been from Michigan. So that's something important to know if you are wanting to get into destination weddings. Those destinations might actually be within your area. So don't overlook the couples that are literally, this couple we ran into at the airport on our way back from Peru, my Mexico couple, because they literally are from here. So, don't overlook your local couples because they might want a destination wedding as well. So let's see. Whenever I do a destination, I try to fly in at least the day before the event, if not 2 days before. When you're going to some place that you actually want to go to, like Mexico, I will try to turn it into a little bit of a vacation of sorts. So the wedding was on Friday. So we flew in on Wednesday in the morning, and then we flew out on Saturday morning. So we had a good amount of time to chill and hang out. This couple booked my 6-hour wedding package. So it was, if you're a wedding photographer, you know that 6 hours is just like the bare minimum coverage. It doesn't take a lot of, honestly, planning, because 6 hours is kind of like the bare essentials. You get like a little bit of getting ready, and then the rest of it is just like the actual wedding events themselves. So we got there on Wednesday in the morning. The flight from Grand Rapids to Cabo is super chill. And I did want to tell you guys, I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I last year decided that I wanted to okay, let me back up a little bit. I have been really into airline credit cards because with how much I've been finding myself booking these destinations, it's helpful to have points built up or have some sort of reward system, basically get rewarded for traveling so much. So at the beginning of my photography career, I got the Delta credit card. Basically what I've been doing is I've been just getting these credit cards and then canceling them like within a year, getting the bonus, so the bonus miles, and like meeting the spend limit and then canceling them. So I did the Delta one. I've done the Capital One Venture card, I think is what it's called. And then the most recent one that I got was the American Airlines City Advantage card. And the reason I got that card was because I found myself like always taking American Airlines flights, just kind of like where I'm based out of, Grand Rapids. Like, it's just American is the majority of the flights that I take. They're the cheapest, and they have like the most locations. I would say American and Delta pretty much are the most popular. But like I mentioned, I got the Delta card at the very beginning of my career, so I hadn't done American yet. So I've had this American Airlines card, and I hit my spend limit. And I just want to tell you guys, like, okay, I've gotten my bonus miles, and essentially I want to use these bonus miles for like a personal trip or whatever. Every time I book a business trip like this, I'm always like using my money because it's a write-off. So I'm always like writing these trips off. But I have this American Airlines card, and I have spent enough money on this card because honestly, just all of my business expenses, I just use this card to pay for them. Um, and I am like a platinum member, I think, or something. So I'm like high up ish. I'm definitely not top tier by any means, but like I'm high enough that they sometimes, like, I'm available for complimentary upgrades like randomly, and I get to like choose my seats on the flight, which is a big deal for me because I fly with Charlie, and I always want to make sure we're sitting next to each other, and preferably like have like the seats that have like more room underneath them, because I have a gigantic camera bag that I put underneath the seat. So I don't usually get like a ton of like leg room if I'm in like the normal seats. So anyway, this is going to be important later on, but essentially I flew American out there. I don't believe I got upgraded on my way out, but on my way home, we did get upgraded. Both of us got upgraded to first class, which is always so fun because I never expect it. And after like a long trip like that, it was just so fun to like have something like small to look forward to. It just was like, it's like a 3-hour flight, and you're kind of treated like royalty a little bit. It's fun. You get like fun drinks that other people can't get. You get dinner, like you get warm towels, stupid stuff like that. So that's always a fun thing. And as someone that has been traveling a lot more for work lately, it has been a game changer to have like frequent flyer benefits. So I have like accounts with every single airline, but specifically like hitting one airline that I know I fly a lot, specifically to Cabo. American is like the best flight for me. So yeah. Anyway, that was kind of off track. So we get into Cabo on Wednesday, and the Cabo airport itself is like literally crazy. I don't have to get into the details of that, but we essentially get to the resort, and I always stay on site when I shoot like a destination wedding where it's like going to be at a resort or at a hotel. It is preferable for me to stay at the hotel, especially if I'm flying somewhere and I don't plan on having my own transportation. So when I go to Cabo, I don't have my own rental car or anything like that because I don't usually plan on going into town unless I like take like a hotel shuttle or something. It's a lot easier to just, get hotel transportation to the hotel, like a literal shuttle. So we got the hotel shuttle, got to the resort. Everything there at the resort, this was an all-inclusive, so I paid for the all-inclusive fees. I actually paid, if you guys are wondering, my travel packages include all of the travel costs within the price that I quote my client. So I give them a flat rate, and then I essentially am assigned to book everything and get everything within my own budget. So like the cheaper things are for me, the better they are because they're saving me money on that package price. So essentially my client booked a flat rate for me, and then I booked the hotel, booked the flight on my own. And all of that comes out of just like what I'm profiting for the wedding. So we get there, and honestly, the first day, very chill, uneventful. I, wanted to get there like a day or two early so that I could tan a little bit. So we hung out by the pool. And on the second day, this was the day before the wedding, we got invited by the bride and groom to the welcome bonfire. And then we also had a walkthrough that the bride invited us to. And I mean, the walkthrough was so chill. So like the whole day on Thursday, we really didn't do anything either. The walkthrough was during the day, and she didn't have a bridal party. It was literally just her walking down the aisle, like, and then the groom walking down the aisle, and then they had like a ring bearer and a flower girl. So very, very chill. We went to the welcome bonfire. I actually had a little bit of an incident with my eye. And at dinner on Thursday, my eye started to swell really, really bad, which is a little terrifying as a photographer because you're like, oh, cool. That's like the one thing I need to actually do my job here are my eyeballs. So it started to swell. I have no idea why. Sometimes this randomly happens to me. And it ended up the swelling went down the next day, but I went to the bonfire with a swollen eye. But it was really nice to go to the bonfire. And if you guys ever do destinations and you get invited to some of this like extracurricular stuff, personally, I love to go to this stuff because number one, it just allows me to get acquainted with the guests and get familiar with people's faces. But number two, it's just like, I don't know. I think it's good for like your client's experience as well. If they care enough about you to invite you to this stuff, they care about you being there, whether or not they say like, oh, you don't need to come or whatever, like no pressure. Like I do think they care a little bit. So I always try to go to this stuff, and this bonfire was so helpful for me to go to. I met like a bunch of her really close friends, some of the girls that were going to be getting ready with us the next day. So it was like, it was very good for me to go to that, for sure. And it kind of helps with the energy on a wedding day, because I feel like when I'm walking into a getting ready room and I already know a couple people, it just makes me more comfortable, makes them more comfortable. So all around, I love going to stuff like that. So then we had the wedding on Friday. It was so good, so fun. Yeah, I mean, it was beautiful. We did photos on the beach and kind of around the resort. That's the nice thing about doing weddings in Cabo. Like the resorts are always so pretty too. Yeah, so it was super chill. Charlie actually didn't shoot with me. He wasn't contracted to be my second shooter, but he did like mic me up, and then we did like some behind the scenes videos on my work phone. So that was nice just to have that content. And while I'm traveling, it's so nice to kind of have content already ready to go. You just have to chop it up and post it. Like that type of content is so nice and easy. So that was really nice. The whole wedding was great. I got some great photos out of it. I haven't posted them yet, but photos turned out so good, so cute. And yeah, we left on Saturday, and basically what happened at this point was we got home on Saturday. We had all of Sunday to chill, and then on Monday we left for Peru. So we basically had like one day home where we went to the beach and I cleaned the house, we did laundry, whatever. And then Saturday or Monday rolled around and it was time to go to Peru. And this is where it gets interesting, guys. Okay. So Peru was with Aftershoot, who is a sponsor of the podcast. They've sponsored my entire podcast for 2024. They're amazing. It's an AI editing software, AI culling software. And they basically did a retreat in Peru. And the co-founder's wife invited me to come. And they flew me and Charlie there. And, like covered the hotel, and like it was so fun. And what I loved about this was not somewhere that I would normally just like go to. Like I'm not just gonna like choose Peru as my vacation spot. Like that's just kind of how it is. Like I just wouldn't. So it was fun to go to a place where honestly I don't know if I would have gone there on my own. So the thing with Peru, from Grand Rapids to Peru, it is an interesting travel. Okay, so basically we had two options. We could either do a really, really long layover in Atlanta for the day. So we could either be stuck in Atlanta from like 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. and then fly to Lima, because from Lima you have to go to Cusco. Okay, so the problem with the flight is we have to get to Cusco. And you get to Cusco by flying into Lima. And they only do flights from Lima to Cusco like during daylight hours. Like they will not do it when it's dark out. So essentially it was either do that, or we were going to fly into Lima at night and then fly out to Cusco at 6 a.m. So we would be stuck in the Lima airport overnight. So what we did was we opted for the Atlanta option. I have some family in Atlanta, so we flew from Grand Rapids to Atlanta, got there at 8 a.m. on Monday, had the entire day, literally until our flight was 11:30 p.m. on Monday. We had the whole day. I actually ended up renting a car for like $40 and we drove around Atlanta, saw my family. We flew from Atlanta to Cusco, or not Cusco, Atlanta to Lima on a red eye. So we got into Lima at like 6 a.m. and then finally Lima to Cusco. We got there around 9 a.m. on Tuesday. Okay. So the retreat started on Tuesday. We get into Cusco on Tuesday at like 9 a.m. What I didn't realize and what I should have done was like look up my hotel before getting there, like just seeing like how far everything was, because the hotel was another hour and 30-minute bus ride and I was already so tired. Me and Charlie were like exhausted. On this bus ride we were literally like banging our heads together because we were falling asleep and like sleeping on each other's shoulders. So eventually we got into the area where the retreat was. It wasn't technically in Cusco. It's called the Sacred Valley. I have never heard of it. It was so pretty though, as you can imagine. It's like this valley in between all these mountains, whatever. So we get to the hotel, we check in, okay? And they bring us to our room, and essentially the room that they brought us to, this is not like Aftershoot, like Aftershoot did not like intentionally like pick people's rooms. So like this is not an Aftershoot, this is literally on the hotel. The only thing worse than taking too many photos while you're shooting is getting home and then having to edit all of them. Here are some ways to speed up your editing workflow without losing any quality in your work. Today, I want to introduce Aftershoot Edits 2.0. You can experience the most consistent edits straight out of Aftershoot. One of my favorite things about Aftershoot is their upgraded white balance and exposure AI models. Even if your lighting varies during your session and you have a lot of drastic changes, Aftershoot's able to instantly fix any blown out highlights, murky shadows, and overall, this feature allows you to have balanced photos no matter what your lighting conditions were. Another way to speed up your editing workflow is by using AI masking in Aftershoot Edits 2.0. This feature allows you to selectively edit your images through masking. With AI masking, Aftershoot can automatically select your subjects and adjust them to really make them pop in your image. Another great way to save time while you're editing is to use Aftershoot's advanced cropping and straightening. This tool allows you to customize and select any aspect ratio, and it even automatically crops in your photos so that the focus is more on your subject. It also can automatically straighten your photo, which is going to save you so much time in the long run. Say goodbye to spending way too much time editing your photos and use Aftershoot Edits 2.0. Aftershoot has an exclusive offer for all Shoot listeners, so go to the link in the description of this episode to find out more. Thank you guys so much for watching, and now back to the show. They brought us to our room, and I kid you not, to get to the room, so like we're passing all these beautiful rooms, like all these doors with windows that's so pretty, whatever. And like I had looked up the hotel on like Google before. I had looked at the rooms before. They're nice rooms, okay? They bring us to our room. They open these double doors, which bring us to a conference room, okay? There's all these chairs set up. Through the conference room we go, all the way to the back of the conference room. There's a little door in the back and it says room 121. That's our room, okay? So my initial thought is like, okay, like this is weird, because all the other rooms are like in these beautiful hallways next to other rooms. This room is like on its own, okay, in the back of a conference room. So whatever, give it the benefit of the doubt. We go in this room. No, it's giving storage room. It literally had two double beds that were pushed up in the corners of the room. It was so small. No windows in this main room, okay? The bathroom had a window, it was small, and the bathroom was like very small as well. And I was like, okay, like the whole ceiling was like exposed, like vaulted ceilings, like exposed beams and stuff, which is kind of cool, but then also like it was giving like attic, like Cinderella, okay? And I was like, I'm not like really the bougie type to be like, I'm gonna go ask for another room. Like I was like, it's whatever, it's fine, like we'll make do. What I later found out later that day was that the conference, the Aftershoot retreat, the next day they were gonna have like a bunch of speakers and stuff, and the classes from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. were going to be held in that conference room that our room was attached to, okay? Which is very much not ideal. Like, you could not get to our room without interrupting an entire like conference session. And there was also like a 2-inch gap underneath our door. So it was like not the vibe. So I ended up going to the front desk like later that evening and asking if we could switch to a different room because of the conference going on. Like, I was literally like, we cannot get to our room without going through and interrupting a session. So they switched our room. We got an amazing room. Like, the room that they switched us to, I was like, bro, why couldn't you put us in this room in the first place? Like, the room they put us in should have been a last resort. Anyway, I'm rambling about that. We get to our room and I go to lay down to take a nap because I looked on like the online schedule and there wasn't anything until I think it was like 4 p.m., like a welcome ceremony. And I lay down for a nap, I shower, and I get a call. I'm literally 5 minutes into my nap. I get a call and it's like the front desk and they're like, hey, you're wanted at the welcome ceremony. It's happening right now. I was not aware of the schedule changes and I was wearing sweatpants, no makeup, and I had never met any of these people at the retreat. Not a single one of them I had met in person before. So I rolled up, me and Charlie rolled up to the welcome ceremony. We were so tired. We had not gotten any sleep. I was wearing makeup or no makeup, sweatpants, and it was just, I felt so bad because I was like, I try to like present myself a little bit and I was just not giving. So anyway, that was a little bit of a hiccup, but then I ended up locating the schedule. It was fine. So we had the welcome ceremony. It was so fun. They had like these alpacas everywhere. They had these like local merchants who were selling like handmade alpaca ponchos and blankets and literally everything you can think of they were selling. It was so like all their stuff is so pretty and colorful. They had the welcome ceremony. They had like food and stuff. This whole retreat was so like accommodating. They always had food. They always had drinks. They always had, I don't know, just like tons of people. Everyone was so friendly. Everyone's talking to you. Like, no one is like off in their little groups. Like, literally everyone is introducing themselves to you. So it was just like a really fun place to meet people. I don't think much else happened that day. We ended up going into town with like a few of the attendees. There was the shuttle and we went into the local town and got food and stuff. So it was super fun. And then the next day was full of these like speakers and these different like breakout workshops to go to. So it was kind of like a classroom day. They had 6 different sessions and 6 different speakers. It was so good. Like, I love sitting down with just no expectations and just learning from someone like that. And it was so refreshing to learn from some of these speakers. And I actually have some notes from the things that I learned, which I can talk about in a minute. But that was amazing, so fun. And then the third day was like a style shoot day. So they bussed us all to these ancient ruins and there were 6 different couples set up with all different outfits. Some of them had like authentic like Peruvian outfits. Other people had like more traditional like wedding dresses and whatever. But it was gorgeous, the places we were shooting. And then the speakers from the day before actually each had their own group and they were set up with each of the couples. And they kind of walked you through some of the stuff that they taught you the day before. So like one of the speakers did a lesson on Flash, and then on the shooting day also taught Flash in real life. It was very practical. So that was really fun and amazing. I got so many fun photos for my portfolio. And I met some fun photographers too. I met a photographer from Italy. Her name was Lily. She was so fun. I met a photographer from Puerto Rico. Her name's Corolla. I met so many people. It was so fun to network like that. Charlie was thriving, guys. Like, I kind of thought because like, he really didn't have much to shoot. He was kind of just hanging out, kind of just like, like a passenger princess, honestly, for this trip. He had so much fun. He loved the speaking sessions. He was taking so many notes. And I really feel like I'm starting to see, like, photography's kind of always been my thing. Charlie's good at photography. He does it with me, but I feel like I'm starting to see a little bit of like this passion come from him with photography. Like, he's starting to really, I don't know, kind of make it his own little thing a little bit. So that was really fun to see. We did a couple of shoots. I did like a photo swap with a couple, and yeah, so fun. We ended up flying out on Friday. So it was Monday we started traveling. We flew out on Friday back home. We got home Friday night. And I, on Saturday, started feeling really sick and got some sort of sickness while we were out traveling. So that was interesting. And honestly, I'm still recovering. It's literally Thursday, so it's fine. But I wanted to give you guys a few lessons that I learned while I was on my trips. Okay. So, there was a speaker, his name was Sam Hurd, and there were two big things that I took away from his, sessions. Number one, these are mainly, related to like posing and composition, but he, gave like a posing tip. He said, like, if you're really struggling to like pose people in the moment, he has these like little wooden like figure dolls that he bought. Literally, I'm sure you could find them on Amazon or something. But he has these wooden figures, and what he does is he like, if he's traveling for a shoot or something, he brings them with him and sets up different poses with two different like wooden dolls and puts them up against a white wall and tries to like get poses based on like what looks good visually, and you can like manipulate the arms and like all of it. And like you can draw little faces on there. It was so interesting because he planned out a lot of very unique poses using these little wooden figures. So if you're someone that struggles with posing and like is the hands-on type that needs to see it visually beforehand, but you can't just remember everything from Pinterest, this would be a really, really fun option to try. The other thing that he talked about was an AI like program. It's called Insight, and he basically uses it for like in the moment inspiration. So what you do is like you take a picture of your subject in the area that you're shooting. So like literally, let's say you have a senior session in a flower field. You meet up at this flower field, and just at the beginning of the session, you're like, hey, I'm just going to snap a quick pic of you on my phone real quick. You take a picture of your subject. They don't have to be posed or anything. You send it to Insight, and then within a couple minutes, it'll AI generate different poses and different like composition ideas for you based on your subject. And like if you are really struggling with like a staircase, you can put your subject like sitting on the staircase and like take a picture, send it away, and Insight will come back to you with like different ideas for poses and composition and stuff for the staircase. So it's really interesting, and I think if you're someone that struggles with in the moment posing, that's something fun to do, something fun to try. I just felt very inspired after the retreat, and honestly, I felt like a heightened level of community. Just meeting people that I normally wouldn't meet, people from all over the world, like literally all over. So I think this was just like a really fun, I guess, like confirmation for me in my head that events like these are really valuable, even if they're not the biggest money makers or, whatever, they take a lot of time to plan. They are really, really valuable. And I think it's very important to attend some sort of event like this, or maybe throw your own, even if it's on a smaller scale, just to kind of like revamp, respark a little bit of your creativity, your kind of hope in the photography world. It really did give me hope in the community of photography. Because sometimes it can feel so competitive and like just too much. Sometimes it can feel like everyone is just out to get you. So an event like this really is just, yeah, it's inspiring, truly. So that's what I wanted to say about my trip. I know that was literally a lot, but it was a very big trip and it was very impactful. So, so let's talk about 2025 and booking for 2025. This whole topic came to me because I had a mentor session a couple days ago, and this girl came to me and basically was like, I am not booking for 2025. I have nothing booked. I have like 15 weddings booked for this year. I don't know why. I need your help. Like, what is happening? And I've had this conversation with a few photographers actually, just about 2025. My general consensus I've found is people are just not really booking 2025 yet. There are going to be the occasional people who are literally booked out for 2025. That's fine. If that's you, good for you. But I've been finding a lot of my photographer friends, a lot of people I've been talking to, just don't have as many bookings for 2025 as they would like. And I have a couple theories on why this is. Number one, maybe we're going to get a big influx of people who are getting engaged this summer that plan their wedding literally like within 1 year. So maybe we're not seeing those people who are planning their wedding like a year and a half, 2 years in advance. Maybe we're seeing the current people who are getting engaged aren't planning their wedding so far in advance. Maybe they're doing something more on the fly. So that's one of my theories. Number two, I'm wondering if this kind of shift in the wedding industry is impacting bookings, because a lot of what I'm seeing shifting within photography, and specifically wedding photography, is there's a lot more documentary style photos that are popular. Like that style is more popular, plus more minimal editing, more film inspired stuff. And I think there are people who are getting stuck in like an older style of photography, like stuff that's a little bit more posed and stiff and rigid with, super concentrated edits, maybe just like things that aren't as trendy. Not necessarily that those things are bad, but that type of photography I think is starting to become not as popular. And I think the people that are willing to book for 2025, they're looking for almost like very candid documentary style photography. That's like what is so popular right now. So I think that might be impacting whether or not people are booking for 2025. So what to do if you're not booking for 2025? I have just like a couple of like reflective questions that I want you to think about. So the first thing, when it comes to booking, if you're like, okay, I'm not booking, you need to figure out where is the disconnect, okay? So if you're not booking for 2025, first thing to ask yourself, are you getting inquiries? Straight up, that's the question. Are you even getting the inquiries for 2025? If your answer is no, I'm not even getting inquiries, my inquiries are, they're far and few in between. They are for 2025, but like, they're not my dream clients. That's something important to note. If the problem is you're not even getting inquiries in the first place, or maybe you are getting inquiries, but no one's booking, that's a completely different problem. So we need to first pinpoint the problem. Then you need to ask yourself, okay, how do most people find you? So this person that I just had the mentor session with, her main way of getting booked was through her friends. Like it was all word of mouth essentially. So it's like, okay, what we're seeing then is your word of mouth is dwindling off. So let's figure out why that is. Is it your client experience? Is it the actual photos themselves? Is it the galleries? Is it maybe your gallery delivery time? What is it that is causing people to not recommend you? Maybe you're not doing anything inherently bad or inherently negative that someone's gonna like leave a negative review, but maybe you're not doing enough things positive to where you are leaving someone absolutely raving about you. You know what I mean? Like you're giving a it's giving like mediocre. Think about like a service that you have. Let's say it's getting your nails done. What is something that your nail tech can do that is going to make you recommend them to all of your friends versus you go, you get your nails done. It's not the worst experience. You're not going to leave a negative review, but you're not necessarily going to go and tell all your friends to go to this place. So what are those things that you can do that are going to lead to someone giving you great word of mouth referrals? So that's just one little takeaway from that. That's just one little thing, is figuring out where do your inquiries come from, and then how can you convert those inquiries. Okay, so maybe most people find you from Instagram or from your Google or something like that. Another question to ask yourself: if you're not booking for 2025, where did a majority of your bookings come from for 2024? That is as simple as going onto Honeybook, going to all your booked planning weddings, clicking on each one and just being like, okay, go to the section that says, how did you hear about me? And look to see what they say. That's important because the place that most people hear about you, how people find you, that's where you really want to lean in. That's what you really want to lean into, because if you're not getting bookings, you got to start somewhere, and you got to start from the people that have booked you, let's say from Instagram. If everyone finds you from Instagram somehow, whatever you're doing on Instagram is cultivating and creating the clients that you want to book, that want to book you. Like that is the perfect breeding ground for potential clients. You know, if all your clients have booked you from there, that's where it starts. So that is something to keep in mind. If you're like, okay, I'm not booking, maybe you're slacking somewhere. Are people just booking later than usual? This is my strategy. This is my theory. Honestly, like, are people booking more last minute? Also, something else I thought about, you know how like those wedding content creators are really popular right now? Like, people have been hiring someone to just walk around and follow them on a wedding day and just take a bunch of videos of them, like literally just like to have on your phone at the end of the day. Maybe that's kind of impacting whether or not people book actual photographers. I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. I'm not quite sure. Ask yourself, do you feel inspired? So this is something that I really feel like clients can tell. If you do not love your work, if you don't feel inspired and sparked by your work, I think potential clients can tell that. And I mean, do you want to book someone that it literally has art as their profession, but is not passionate about that art? Someone that's stuck in the motions, someone that keeps doing the same thing over and over again. You want to book a photographer who's passionate, who's inspired, who's creative. And honestly, sometimes I think we lack that a little bit. When you choose to do like weddings or a bunch of family sessions as your career, you kind of get stuck in the rhythm of things and do the same thing over and over again, and people can tell. So, two last things that I want to go over. What are you doing and what are you offering as a photographer that is actually valuable? Like, I want you to genuinely like reflect on yourself, reflect on this, because for me, I think what I offer that's valuable are very like, I am so good at taking candids, not to like just brag, but like this is something that I know I offer that's valuable. I am really good at getting candids of strangers, wedding guests, like the people that are present at a wedding. I think I'm really good at that. And I also think I'm really good at visually, like the curating a gallery type of thing. Like visually, I think I'm good at that aspect as well. So what are the things that you're valuable for you're valuable? What are the things that you offer that are valuable to your clients? Ask yourself that. And then are you communicating that to your clients? If you are really, really good at posing and making your clients comfortable, do you communicate that to potential clients? Is that something that you are putting all over social media? A good way to showcase that is to show videos of you posing people. Mic yourself up, show yourself posing. That's a great way to communicate that value. The flip side of that is, do your clients also think that's something that's valuable? So if you think making your clients comfortable is valuable, ask yourself, is that something that my clients value as well? Because if they don't also value it, there's the disconnect. If you think that your editing style is what's valuable, but your client does not see that as valuable, instead they just care about like candids, they care about getting candids of their friends and their guests, they don't care about how it's edited. The disconnect is, you think one thing is valuable, they think something else is valuable. There we go. There's no booking right there. So those are things to think about for 2025. I do want to like encourage you guys, if you feel like you're not booking as much. I have also noticed this, and maybe it's not a price thing, maybe it is a price thing, maybe it's, there's tons of different factors, but just rest assured you're not the only one that feels like that. That is going to be it for today's episode, guys. Thank you so much for listening to me ramble about my trip and just random things that have been on my mind. I will see you next week for another episode. I hope you love this week's episode and have an amazing rest of your day.